defending your religious freedom. Here is Dr. Chaps.
You're watching PIJN News. I'm Dr. Chaps. Today we interviewed Josh Bernstein, who has his own television program, but he comes on ours to give analysis, especially of Jewish issues pertaining to Israel. As an evangelical Christian, I'm interviewing my friend who happens to be Jewish. And Josh, I want to get your take on the deal of the century. President Donald Trump has just proposed, and in fact, standing with Bibi Netanyahu at the Blair House in Washington, D.C., they are proposing a deal that will have the following elements. Number one, Israel will retain broad territory for their continued development. Number two, no Israelis or Palestinians will be evacuated. Number three, they are not going to divide Jerusalem any more than having a security fence, which is already in place around the tourist sites. Number four, they are not going to return to the 1967 borders. The Jewish people have picked up territory under this. The right of return has been buried. For anyone who claims Palestinian heritage doesn't automatically get a right to come back, and not even one refugee will be entering Israel. I was just quoting Benjamin Netanyahu, who is all in favor of this. The Palestinians, including Mahmoud Abbas, are all against this. How does the Trump administration play in this?
Well, first off, let me say this. Every president that has tried and failed negotiated from a position of weakness rather than strength. President Trump is negotiating from a position of strength. That's first and foremost. And the reason is because he's already proven what he's been able to do, moving the Capitol, being against the BDS movement, doing the executive order against anti-Semitism on college campuses. Of course, his ambassador to United Nations, his former attorney, David, I can't remember his last name, I think Rubin, not David Rubin, Levine or something. He's been great, not wanting to uproot the settlements and things like that. Of course, getting us out of the Iran deal. So he's been a very pro-Israel president. But looking at this deal, this is a very good deal for the Palestinians. Israel would supervise security from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. The new proposed borders of Israel will include retaining 20% of the area of Judea and Samaria, while giving up an area in the Negev near the Gaza-Egypt border. This will also give the Palestinian Arabs the option of creating their own state comprised of the remaining 80% of Judea and Samaria in the next 4 years. However, there are certain conditions, and rightfully so, there should be. The Palestinian Authority must recognize Israel's right to exist, of course, and their sovereignty. But more than anything else, they need to stop paying terrorist organizations, funding terrorist organizations, doing martyrdom operations, and they must also open up to the free press, to liberty and freedom, and they also have to end corruption, among many other things. So there are parameters involved in this deal that basically says, if you do this, this, and this, then we, America, will help fund your success. We will then implement and put in programs and give you, aid and money and everything else so that you can be not only independent, but you can be successful. And I like the fact that this is not kowtowing to the Palestinians. It's not giving up more of our rightfully sacred land. And it's definitely putting this peace deal in a position to where they would be very foolish not to accept it. And obviously it looks as though they're not planning on accepting it. And here's the one more thing. In the early backers, you have Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. The ambassadors to all of those countries have come out in favor of this deal.
Well, I like the way it sounds. Some of my evangelical friends say, no, this divides Jerusalem, which is a violation of the Bible. Joel chapter 3, verse 2 says, don't divide God's land. God will curse people who divide his land. But I was at Jerusalem about a year ago, and I literally climbed the Mount of Olives to see where Jesus did some of his discourse. Then I got in a Palestinian taxi cab and we drove into the Palestinian territory to get to Jerusalem. There's this big security fence which is keeping out terrorists. And they've had literally no terrorist incidents in Jerusalem, major ones anyway, since this security fence was built up. Isn't Jerusalem already divided, at least along those lines? And should they have their own Palestinian capital in East Jerusalem on the far side of that wall? Or do they want more territory? Do they want to control the Temple Mount?
Well, of course they want to control that. But first thing I'll say is, hey, I guess walls do work, huh, folks?
Absolutely.
Israel's proof of it. But seriously, getting back to what we were talking about, we cannot divide Jerusalem. I would agree with that. And then that needs to be and remain the capital. However, giving off a portion of the area of Samaria and Judea, I don't think is, the worst thing in the world. Bottom line is, I've never been a fan or a supporter really of a two-state solution. However, this one would be about the only thing I think that even myself would even see that it could possibly work. They are giving up a decent amount of land that they would then be able to control. But again, for security reasons, they're also controlling the security in those areas. And I think that's a smart idea as well. But again, I think it's also a situation where no matter what you do, if you gave them Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and everything else, they would still probably say no, because they are entrenched in what their belief system is. They have been taught by, their scholars and everything else for many, many years, centuries, if you will, to hate the Jews. And that's unfortunate, because the Jews are not their enemy.
By the way,
the Jews want peace.
Along that wall from Jerusalem to Bethlehem, there's a 5-lane highway, beautifully paved, and there's signs everywhere, built by the United States of America with American tax dollars. So we have been supporting the Palestinian people and their economy. We're out of time, but our guest Josh Bernstein has a website, patreon.com/Josh Bernstein. Please subscribe to our content. Our website is prayinjesusname.org. Again, our website is prayinjesusname.org. Again, that's prayinjesusname.org. Or call us at 866-OBEY-GOD. We'll see you next time. If you've watched our program, you know that we stand with Israel as God's chosen people. We need you to sign a petition today. Why? Because did you know that even as Iran is now developing 800-mile range cruise missiles, could be nuclear tipped very soon, that our U.S. Congress has now 3 brand new freshman congresswomen. We call them the 3 anti-Semitic musketeers, Ocasio-Cortez and 2 Muslims, Tlaib and Omar. And they are influencing Nancy Pelosi to have the most anti-Semitic Congress in years. We need to stand with our friends in Israel, and that's why we're asking you to sign a petition. Visit prayinjesusname.org. Again, that's prayinjesusname.org. Don't divide Jerusalem. Stand with Israel and stand up to the United Nations. We will fax it to the Congress, but you need to sign today. Take a stand. Visit prayinjesusname.org and sign our petition today.
Dr. Chaps needs your financial support to stay on the air. Would you please send your best donation today? Please visit prayinjesusname.org to donate online. Or you can mail a check to Pray in Jesus Name Ministries, Post Office Box 77077, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80970. You can also call us toll-free right now at 866-OBEY-GOD. That's 866-OBEY-GOD. Please sign up for our free emails at prayinjesusname.org. Again, that's prayinjesusname.org.